John was working in his science lab, got blasted by gamma rays. Now he's Smash Trivia John, always smashing. He's friends with Ruffalo, crushing on Maslany, and also Sydney Sweeney. John's here saying, hello my gamma friends, welcome to the show, the Gamma Analysis Podcast.
Smash.
Hello, my Gamma friends. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Smash Trivia John. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram by searching Smash Trivia. I'll be the one with the big old green head in the profile picture. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, I'm going to review everything Hulk, all the movies, TV shows, and I also do random other geeky films. Hope you enjoy Smash Trivia Presents the Gamma Analysis. I want to ask everyone listening, please do sign for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all your friends. If you don't, Hulk will be angry. And also, please check out my other podcast, Creepy and Kooky, a Wednesday Addams podcast, where myself and my co-host, Zilith the Librarian, talk about the Wednesday TV show on Netflix. We've been having a lot of fun doing that. I think you'll enjoy our episodes of that. Now, let's smash right into this episode. Today's episode is a review of Jacko, a Lienna Quigley a B-movie slasher with my friend Crowley from Splatterhouse Cinemas. But first, I'd like to let Crowley talk a bit about his project, Pumpkin Patch Palz, which I may be a part of in the near future. So, just want let you talk about what's the project about, and what made you decide that you wanted to do this, and just all that jazz.
Right. Good evening, listeners. So, I I got the idea for the Pumpkin Patch Pals. It started off as an RPG character joke. I decided to do Splatterhouse Cinemas first, and I realized that I needed a mascot, and thus Sam Gordy Blackwood was born. And I realized that I could turn him into a D&D character, and from the get-go, I didn't want it to be a scarecrow. I wanted, I noticed that there was, at the time, I thought there was a large void of pumpkin-headed slashers in the horror universe, but we're about to find out I was quite wrong.
I've been looking at some stuff off for these as I was trying to figure out what we should do for this review. I was very surprised by how many I found.
It's like one of those things, I forget what the term for it is, but you become hyper aware of things. Like if you notice patterns that aren't actually patterns, you're just hyper focusing and more aware of the item in question. But yeah, it started off as a D&D character and one RPG character, because I don't want to put it in Dungeons & Dragons specifically and then them try and take the character away from me because I used D&D Beyond to build it or some such nonsense. But there was a spell that someone had made called Flock of Familiars, which lets you summon 3 companions instead of just 1. And I was like, oh yeah, like 3 little pumpkins would be absolutely hilarious. Thus Winky, Blinky, and Bob were born. So it was a pumpkin with 1 eye, a pumpkin with 2 eyes, and a pumpkin with no eyes. And I was like, yeah, I could voice 3 different pumpkins. I could do 3 funny little voices. And then I was like, okay, they're all orange. So I changed the colors on them. Then I got some more pumpkins. Then I got some more pumpkins. Then I got some more pumpkins. And then I wandered into a TikTok live. And they were doing like a memorial service for Andrew Hara, and I did not know Andrew. Unfortunately, I had caught his content at the very end, and he seems like just the most amazing, genuine, inclusive horror talk. I don't think would be what it is without him.
Yeah.
But that's how I met Lily, and of course, you're a big Lily fan as well. She's just great people, but Shane was in there, and someone had said something about Shane wanted to get into amateur voice acting, professional voice acting. And I was like, oh, I've got this idea. I could use help with it. and it was Ginger's live, and I was like, oh, like how cool would a pumpkin with like viney dreadlocks be? So I asked for their permission to use their likenesses for these pumpkins, and then one thing led to another, led to another, led to another, and I thought I was going to get 50 no's before I got a single yes. But it was yeses pretty much right away across the board. And I told everybody that are pretty straightforward. I was like, I have no money to put in this project. I have no money to give you. I don't want to go to Kickstarter and ask for money until I have something to show for it. And then like Jason and the Krugers did the theme song. The Final Girl did our animation clip for us. Scotty Crow does the comic book. And I wanted kind of like a Sin City comic where the blood spatter and the pumpkins might be in color, but everything else was in black and white. So the free PDF that I've been giving out is all black and white. But if you bought one of like the shiny metal covers, there's like a cover gallery in the back, as well as the pumpkins themselves are actually orange in that comic versus the black and white one. But it was just like, I don't know if you remember Barnyard Commandos, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Food Fighters, things like that really were an inspiration for the Pumpkin Patch Pals. And I was like, at first I was like, what's the bad guy? What are they going up against? And it's like, is it another vegetable? Is it a fruit? Is it corn? Are they fighting corn? Is it animals? Are they fighting off the barnyard animals? And quickly humans became the food of choice. If you don't eat your vegetables are going to eat you. We made the joke about smashing these pumpkins would be unwise because these pumpkins have been known to smash back. And then the Great Gourd was formed, and then he brought life to the pumpkins. And it's like the law is like, it's a constant evolving thing because nothing was set in stone yet. But it's kind of like, did the Pumpkin Patch Pals come first, and then Sam became a fan of the show and hyper obsessed with it, and like that's what drove him to the rampage? Or did Sam create the pumpkins and is in fact their protector? So it's like the fake movie Blackest Friday canonically would take place in a world where the Pumpkin Patch Pals franchise has taken off. And so Sam Gordy Blackwood from the movie wouldn't actually be the Sam Gordy Blackwood. It would be someone in a Sam Gordy Blackwood mask. But yeah, that was pretty much the thought train. And I got the idea one day while I was in the restroom, and I was like, you know what? Like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And it's like, I wanted to do, originally it was Splatterhouse Cinema was going to be movie reviews and maybe a podcast, kind of like Dinner on a Movie, where we would have a pun-based dish. But yeah, well, we sold out of the comics, so we're actually planning a second printing of that. So if people want to stay tuned for that, I will have a link probably sometime in October. But yeah, sold completely out, and it's like for a project that has cost me nothing out of pocket. And the best part is, like you said, I have invited you to be the Gamma Gourd, coming from a radioactive part of the pumpkin patch, is what I'm thinking. And it's just really nice to finally have something that I can share with others and let people feel included in a part of something.
Oh yeah. So you talked about how there's like a fake movie franchise of them in universe. In real life, there though, would you have any interest in at some point in the future of like trying to make a movie about the pumpkin in Patch Pals?
Yeah, that was always like the joke was always kind of like the merchandising. So that was the other point. I realized that Hasbro, or not Hasbro, Playmates, but whoever makes I'd have to check my action figures. Whoever makes the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has been selling this the same damn action figures for 35, 40 years. It's like realistically every so often they re-up the Turtles, they make a new version. And again, they bring back the original 87 cartoon tie-in line. And it's like, I can't tell you how many times I've rebought those, the 40th anniversary, the 35th anniversary, then there's all the new Turtles, but merchandising has always been a thing. And Yeah, I would love to see a cartoon show or even a full-length Pumpkin Patch Pals movie, animated or CGI, or even I wish my fondest dream, because I'm a huge Jim Henson fan, is that we could get puppets, like
Nice, that'd be
realistic,
cool.
like Pumpkin Patch Pals puppets. Um, but yeah, in the back of the comic, there's the fake movie ad for the comic. So it's like the thing's very self-aware, it's very meta, it's very,
Mhm.
one hand feeds the other. But yeah, I would absolutely love to see a Pumpkin Patch Pals movie, or even just a Sam Goody Blackwood
Oh
um
yeah.
movie.
That would be definitely very cool. And like I want to support you. I think it's always it's so cool again support or an indie artist their vision for SAG, and I think this is a very fun, unique idea. And you have done it in a very unique feeling way where it doesn't it even though it is sort of a slasher, or it doesn't just feel like a stereotypical slasher film or story. It feels like something unique and something that has this very whimsical fantastical aspect to it. I love that about it.
Well, that's the thing too. Early on, we had to make a choice of, were we going to do this PG-13, or are we going to go all in? And I did a little bit of research. I didn't dive deep, deep, deep into the internet, but I did, a quick search for pumpkin-headed slashers that turned back next to nothing. Of course, you type in Pumpkinhead, and you're going to get the Pumpkinhead films, which is, the revenge demon that looks like a xenomorph. But as far as like the outfit, the design, Splatterhouse Cinemas, I know that the Splatterhouse video games existed. It was all very. It's basically a big giant love letter to everything that I loved, compiled into just Halloween is forever. And of course, Sam Gordy Blackwood is Sam Hain or Samhain for Halloween. Um, and fall, and then Gordy is of course the pumpkin joke, and then Blackwood was just a name that I liked, because I couldn't use Faustus Blackwood because that was from the Chilling Tales of Sabrina, but I
Mm.
was able to go with Faustus Crowley, which is a nod to the Faustian bargain, Faustus, and then Crowley for Aleister Crowley, and then I've just moved Blackwood over to the Gordy character. And it's fun to dress. I started off as a cosplay too. I was like, okay, I was putting the costume together. And I was like, okay, start with an apron, this, that, the other. But I have actually started to carve foam pumpkins, and I've never carved a real pumpkin before in my life. So this is the first year I've actually done this. I carved Halloween. I carved foam pumpkins, and it turns out I'm actually pretty good at it. If I'm going to toot my own horn, light my own lantern or whatever. But yeah, it was fun, and it was a little bit of in character sitting out on my front porch, like carving these pumpkins, and it was like kind of getting in touch with the more sentimental side of the slasher. And it's like he kind of has Bubba vibes, where it's like he's not unaliving people because he wants to. I mean, part of sometimes in the law he does, but in his heart of hearts, he's a big innocent child who just loves Halloween, and the obsession just happened to go a little too far.
Like like I did realize when I was telling you like what I wanted for my character. It sounds like he's kind of similar to what you were having already. I've always liked the idea of of someone who he looks super dangerous, but he's really just a big teddy bear. Unless you hurt the people he cares about, and then he's very willing to just go after you.
Right, right. It's I've got some ideas I'm swirling around in now, but yeah, like I said, when I checked, I couldn't find up a lot about pumpkin slashes, and then now that it's out there, it's like, okay, is it too close to Sam from Trick or Treat? Or is it too close to another comic book character that has a pumpkin slasher in it who's also named Sam Hain? Um, but theirs
I
is
think.
much different, and they're part of like an anthology comic again.
Mhm.
And then as you did your research, found Jacko and was it Wacko? And when I read the
Yeah,
message,
Wacko.
it looked like it said Wacko Jacko, which is funny because there's a horror click and it is called
There's
Jacko Wacko or Wacko Jacko, and it's like a Michael Jackson with a pumpkin head. And I was like,
uh,
okay, no, they're two separate films.
I think there's also a couple other like pumpkin head slashers that have come out actually like recent years, but they look so bad. And I think like some of them are on Tubi, which Tubi coincidentally is where I watched Jacko. But like it, like I think though you don't really need to worry about at least for the just like the idea of a pumpkinhead slasher running into copyright issues because I think that's too generic for someone to decide that it's their thing. Ink. So I think Ink, you don't need to really worry about that.
Yeah, that was one of the things like Peachy keeps me pretty grounded on. I'm like, you will not look. I'm like all the time. I said, I'm like, look at this shit, and she's like, oh my, what she call me, my child face deviant. You can't really copyright a jack o' lantern. I'm like, you're right, and that's the thing I've encountered with the Pumpkin Patch Pals, which I have updated the spelling to be Pumpkin Patch Pals, emphasis on a Z, not an S, because while the copyright has been technically abandoned, I think in 1987 or 1988, sometime in the 1980s ish, they had copyrighted or claimed the Pumpkin Patch Pals with an S, and that is those pre-painted pumpkins you see at the grocery store. So to avoid any
Okay.
confusion there, the second printing of the comic will, going forward, be spelt with a Z. And um,
Okay.
I know we were joking about,
Now,
politics and all, but the I have decided to somewhat rebrand my logo in light of the Cracker Barrel fiasco.
yeah, such a ridiculous is fiasco. Now, could how could you have it as Pumpkin Patch Pals? As could you all could maybe a way to go get around copyright just having it be Pumpkin Pals and or do you really want the patch word in there?
We decided earlier I really like the triple P. I
Okay.
guess I could have changed it to the Pumpkin Patch Punks or the
I
Punk
feel like
Patch
that.
Pals.
I feel like Pumpkin Patch Punks doesn't flow as well as the pals, but yeah.
Right. And then I contemplated like, the little micro pumpkins, or like the pumpkins that didn't get picked and have just rotted out in the field, like those being like the pumpkin puke punks. Like just as forgotten, rotten, nasty little pumpkins that just cause mischief. Like there's ideas kicking around. There's a lot of unused stuff. But yeah, I just basically went like the poor man's copyright. So like I own both Gmails for Pumpkin Patch Pals as Pumpkin Patch Pals Z for Gmail. So I kind of like did a little poor man copywriting, and I've got a whole binder full of character art. I normally get about either one Gordy every 2 weeks or 3 to 6 pumpkins every 2 weeks. So it's like I keep my artists fairly busy, and I'm working on a 31 Gordy's sketch cards, but they're kind of going to be like, I haven't decided if I'm going to call them cousin Gordies or Uncle Gordies, and they're going to be like Iron Maiden's cousin Eddie, like with all the different variations. Like we've got like a pirate, and I don't know if it's funnier to put it over the good eye with the flame, thus having an X and an eye patch, or putting the eye patch over the XI. Um,
Now, do the pumpkins and do they just kill humans or do they also eat them?
They are carnivorous. It took me a while to realize the term I was looking for was not cannibalistic, carnivorous. So yes, they will consume. Their favorite foods are humans and peanut butter and raspberry jelly sandwiches.
I, I think you should get some art made at around Thanksgiving time of all the pumpkin and patch pals around a table as there's a human and with a with an apple in his mouth, their mouth on the table.
That's funny. That, and I was thinking maybe like a Last Supper variation. Like
Oh yeah.
I was kicking around some ideas of sequels to Blackest Friday because it's like that is kind of like the day after Thanksgiving film. And then you had, what was it, Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving or Poultrygeist. But yeah, it's like a Pumpkin Die Massacre was one that I was kicking around.
So you've had some different people that you've created pumpkin personas for, or have you started like including any of them into the stories at all, or have you just had the art created so far?
Oh yeah, the 1 minute proof of concept animation is fully voiced by TikTokers that they voiced a pumpkin that bears their likeness, with the exception of myself because Crowley O'Lantern I don't feel looks a whole lot like I do. Um, Despite the fact that like he's the only one with purple eyes and he has the raven. It's like I thought if anybody's going to be the star of the show, it's going to be me. But I also voiced Jumbo. The joke is that the other pumpkins can understand what Jumbo is saying, but the viewer, the listener, would not. Kind of like Mushmouth or the guy from Yankee Doodle Pigeon, where he
Okay.
like whistles and clicks and all that. But Jumbo just
Uh,
and then it's like,
for
it's
for
kind of
some,
cheating.
I think for some, or like someone like me, who's like a big Marvel fan, and the comparison would be like Groot and the Guardians of the
Yeah, yeah,
Galaxy.
yeah. That's come up a couple times, yeah, with the Groot, like, it's but Groot only says his name, Jumbo doesn't. Jumbo's not a Pokemon, it doesn't just say Jumbo. Jumbo, Jumbo, Jumbo. Um but yeah, I get what you're saying. But no, yeah, so Peachy and Lily wanted to be the conjoined pumpkin, and my biggest worry when I was pitching the design for that is like I don't want it to look like butt cheeks.
Yeah, I
I was
can
like, how do
understand
I
that.
I was like, how do I get two pumpkins here? So we worked around that, and then of course, the
The-
movie Ginger did Ginger Gourd, Peachy Pumpkin, Lily Pumpkin, Chris Big V has the white pumpkin with the green eyes. Um, and I think that's all the speaker roles. I think there's only like five or six pumpkins that speak. But in the comic, they also appear in the comic.
oh,
So yeah, they are the original five or so are the ones that have carried through. And we have done kind of a little bit of a memorial um, service with permission of the relatives of those that are no longer with us, but are again, this is my way of giving back to people or letting them feel included. Lily was kind enough to let us do an Andrew Horror pumpkin, collector Andrew the pumpkin, who we don't see very often because he normally spends a lot of time in his pumpkin hut with his pumpkin collection of horror films. Um, he's more than welcome to come out and hang out with the rest of the pumpkins, but normally, like I said, likes to keep to his privacy. And then we have the Guardian Angel, for Juan Angel of Johnny Johnny Angel of Jason and the Krugers, who unfortunately lost his fight with cancer. Though we rooted for him, he went out on his terms, and Miss Mary Bell, she voices the adorable little yellow pumpkin with the butterflies. We did a seed for her son, who also never had a chance to um, grow in life. So, with her permission and her blessing, we did the little Jarabelle blue pumpkin seed for him.
well, nice, nice. Well, this I'm very excited to I for the future of this. This I think there's just so much interesting stuff that can be done with it. And I'm very excited to see how you fit my gamma gourd into the mix.
Oh yeah, it's always fun coming up with the pun-based names where we try and include either your name or something with your personality into the pumpkins themselves. And the hardest thing is like wrangling the pumpkin art back a little bit so that no one pumpkin really overshadows anyone else's.
True.
Um, because it's just like again, it's like
Yeah.
it's everybody's donating the time and everything, and we
Hmm.
don't want one to be a clear standout other than of course, like
Makes
I said,
sense.
my pumpkin gets purple eyes, like because I can, because
No.
I'm the creator.
Yeah. I hope it's not standing out too much. Me having mine be a green pumpkin, possibly.
Well, that's the thing too. It's like when I go to do the colors, it's like I realized that, and I was just at Walmart this morning and there was like an off pink pumpkin. I thought blue. When I started researching for the Pumpkin Patch Pal, see what I could and couldn't do, because you can only suspend disbelief so far.
Mhm.
I wanted to learn as much as I could about pumpkins, and I learned way more than I ever wanted to know. Especially that little nub on the bottom. We'll just call it the pumpkin's butthole. Um, I had always wondered what that was, and that's where the flower grows. So they bloom a flower, and then to pollinate pumpkins, you have male and female pumpkins, and pollination works and looks exactly like what you're thinking it looks like. Like the male pumpkin looks like a male pumpkin. And you have to manually pollinate the female pumpkin with it. And then they will flower, and then that's why the top, they grow on the vine. So yeah, pumpkins grow and produce exactly the way that you think they would. But like I said, they come in, the Jardels, the whites, the pinks, the yellows, the greens. Some of them even stay green well after they're ripe. So I had one more green pumpkin, and it's one that I was just playing around with the colors, and he looked kind of pickled at first. So I just never really used him. But yeah, we definitely can do a green pumpkin, and I think it'd be fun to. I'm toying around with the idea of somehow working in some sort of radioactive biohazard symbol carved into it.
Which
It's
I love that. But I'm just worried about what you said of like I don't want to like make my pumpkin just stand out of over everybody else's is because it's so different from everybody's eyes
right,
and
right. There
make
was one.
anybody feel less than or anything. And
Yeah, there was one pumpkin we couldn't use, and that was Bambi's. She wanted basically a gourd face, a ghost face pumpkin, and it looks amazing, but it's just way too on the nose. Like you look at this
yeah.
thing and go, okay, that is 100% ghost face. Like can sorry, it exists.
Yeah.
You can use it for your social medias, but as far as any official continuity, that's one of those. And that was the thing too, is people were starting to ask like, how do I get a pumpkin patch pal? How do I get a pumpkin patch pal? And I said, well, I cannot stop you from hiring an artist to draw a pumpkin-esque creature in your likeness. However, my artist does have an agreement with me that they will not draw pumpkins in that style for people that I don't approve the design of.
Mhm.
So, like I said, there's nothing stopping. Like people get My Little Pony
Yeah.
personas done all the time. You're not going to stop that.
Hmm.
And imitation is the greatest form of flattery, so on and so forth. And it's only come up once that someone was like, "Oh, I'm going to have my artist do that." And I said, "Hey, like I will pay for it myself for you to have a pumpkin done." And a lot of times people pay a little extra, kick in that way. If someone that can't afford one really wants one, we can get them one at a discount, if not free. Um, so that's just it's wonderful to see the kind vine, spread and grow, and just people that really builds a community and a fandom. Um, and that makes me feel really gored. Um, but the thought train left the station without me. I was going somewhere with this thought, and I've lost it. Um, what will we?
Well,
I
I was just I was asking about like making sure that my pumpkin isn't like
oh
too crazy to
yeah,
Azadale.
yeah.
It won't fit with the others and others because I would not never want to like let anybody feel like their pumpkin
Well,
is
you
less
notice,
than
yeah.
mine.
Yeah,
somehow.
like we tried to keep it pretty wrangled in. Like some of them have hats, some of them have, more hair than others. Some have accessories. And I think we've got enough now that have flair to them, and like we've kind of retired Winky, Blinky, and Bob, so to speak, because again, they don't look like anyone in particular. Bob doesn't even have any eyes. He just got jagged teeth, but it's like he's blue. It's like he's distinct enough. And I think once we grab a couple of more green pumpkins, by the time we roll out Gamagord, um, I don't think that he will stand out so
Okay,
much that he's
good.
going to overshadow anyone else's pumpkin. I think it might even be fun to pair him with another sort of white radioactive pumpkin. That one kind of like the joke is like this one glows in the dark. This one is like hawked out. Jumbo is the biggest pumpkin in the patch and has three eyes. So there's little details for each
Okay,
pumpkin,
cool.
like they're each unique, different enough. But like, look at the Smurfs, for example. Um, people keep saying like, "What are you doing with all these pumpkins?" I'm like, "Well, you have to have background characters. Not everyone's going to be voiced. Not everyone needs to be in every episode. But Brainy Smurf when you see it.
Yeah.
Painter Smurf and all that. Chef. It's like you could kind of look and reading the comic, they're never mentioned by name. Same thing in the cartoon show. They're never really mentioned by name. You just kind of have to be in the know in the fandom to know whose pumpkin is whose right now. While I do have trading cards, they're not an official trading card. Like Sam Gordy Blackwood got an actual trading card with the first wave of comics. We're working on more trading cards, but ideally, I wanted to have each Pumpkin Patch Pal have a trading card, have them numbered, have a name, and have like a little catchphrase or just a little saying that was like similar to something that either the person they were modeled after would say or something that the pumpkin might say. Like, for example, one of the pumpkins, the person that was based off really likes used to be Sinister Brew Coffee, now Gruesome Brew Coffee, which again calls me to take a look at the copyright on mine. I'm like, well, let me nip this in the bud now. Let me change it to Z, see if that's enough to dodge any potential issues. But yeah, the pumpkin, their pumpkin is like, coffee.
Hmm.
Um,
Nice. We think we should actually like get into the movie that we're talking about at some point. So let's talk about that. I it's definitely not like a good film, but I personally enjoyed it. I thought it was fun to watch.
it it had its moments. Um, the I watched it. I've watched it, I think, twice now because I tried to refresh my memory of it
Yeah.
again today. And I don't know if it's just my headphones, the delay, the lag, or if the acting is just that, like, phoned in spaghetti western. But, like, that
Yeah.
intro was so weird. I'm like, who is
Oh
this
yeah.
guy to the kid?
It's
Like, why is he alone with
I
him in the
I
woods?
hate I hated that guy I at the beginning, and he comes back back later in the film. He's one of the people that go to trick or treat at his house, and but it's his character is so weird because I'm like I on one hand I hate this guy, so I don't mind not seeing him a lot throughout the rest of the film, but it also kind of felt like he was meant to be a bigger character than he was,
Yeah,
if
like
that
they had
makes
wrote a part
sense.
for him, and like a lot of it might have ended on up on the cutting room floor, or it was just such a scatterbrained production that maybe the beginning was supposed to be cut or put in somewhere else, but it didn't. It felt very jumpy aroundy, and when I looked
I,
at the reviews, I
I,
was like, "Oh, did we pick a bad? Did we pick a bad movie?"
there's the production is definitely would have been crazy, I'm guessing, because this film released in 1995, and um it had scenes filming as far back as 1985. The as One of the actors in it is someone named John Carradine, and he filmed his scenes 8 years earlier, or before or everybody else, and also and he passed away in 1989. So the film released 6 years and 11 months after he died. Like that's wild.
That is pretty wild.
The I was looking. I was curious. He plays the character he plays in the film is like the old man who wears a hood that appears in the kid's dreams. And the kid is shown on screen with him in some of those scenes. I'm pretty sure, or which is really interesting to me because as when he filmed those scenes, the kid had not been born yet.
Right? Like that's
Like that's crazy. Oh man. And like I think though the actual like plot of this film, if they had better actors or is a better script, I feel like it actually is kind of an interesting idea for a film. I kind of I found it interesting this kid having these dreams about it's about this person that his ancestors try to stop, and then that person comes back and tries to fight the kid. I think actually made for an interesting plot, but it's because of the acting and the writing, it just does not work.
right. It didn't really land for me. It felt very much like Holes meets the Phantasm meets Pumpkinhead. Like, oh, I'm going to summon this vengeful spirit entity to get revenge on my behalf, and I'm going to curse your family. And at the same time, it's like there's just this creepy old dude like puppeteering the whole.
Yeah.
There was both too much going on and not enough at the time.
Yeah, I felt that I kind of too. Like there there is definitely like a decent amount of kills in it, but all the kills are so fast that it feels like there's not a lot of actual action happening.
Right, it takes a while to get there, and it's over in an instant.
Yeah.
And that I really like that. And this is funny because I was working on a nursery rhyme for Sam, and then at the start of this movie, they have the Jacko
Yeah.
Lantern break your backo, hacky hacky wacko wacko. Like that was like, and it's just his delivery of it was so weird. It's like it's not a bad catchy jingle, but it's just the
No,
delivery was just
the side that I find so interesting about this film is I feel like they were never sure about what they wanted to call this pumpkin-headed creature because the film is called Jacko, but I don't think he actually is ever called Jacko in the film. He's called Jack, Mr. Jack, Jack O' Lantern, and the Pumpkin Man, and I'm pretty sure the film. But I don't think they ever actually refer to him as specifically Jacko.
you know what? I think you're right. Like that was one of those where they had an idea and it just something like I said, something had to have been cut.
They
Well, like you said, it was in production hell for what, eight, would you say eight,
I
10 years?
yeah, I guess. And but like and oh, it's so funny to me how literally the title sequence of the film, even though the film is actually called Jacko, the title sequence of the film first says Jacko, then it adds Lantern into it. I'm like, what? Okay. I feel like once you're at the editing point of a movie, you should be able to figure out what the title is and just slap that on the title sequence and not add in another word.
Right. But I did like the glow effect inside the pumpkin head. Like that was pretty good. I mean, it's not groundbreaking. It's definitely not gonna like measure up to what we have today, but like I was trying to figure out where the actor's actual head was in relation to the
Oh yeah.
pumpkin head. Like,
And speaking of heads, I actually think they did a good job with the one character who got a guy's head chopped off. I think the severed head prop actually looked like him, which I was surprised for such a cheap film like this was, as they actually looked pretty decently like him.
Right. I'm gonna have to go back and look and see who was the special effects and makeup artist on this one.
Uh, I wouldn't be surprised if it's it's someone that Lienna Quigley has worked with before. Or I know that the special effects artist that she worked with on Night of the Demons, and she ended up getting together with him, and dating, and I'm pretty sure they got married
That lucky
after.
bastard.
Where it's hilarious. The scene that he worked on with her in Night of the Demons is one where she is topless, and she's shoving a marker into her own skin.
Oh my.
like like that's hilarious to me that their first meeting was him creating the effects for that, and then somehow they got together.
Like, is it in Linnea Quigley's contract that like she has to take her clothes off in these movies? Like, we're complaining. Just a curiosity, just a observation.
I think that she likes doing it. I think it's similar to how who Sydney Sweeney likes taking her clothes off in movies.
Right? It was like when you were like Linnea Quigley's in it. I'm like, oh, get a jack o' lantern over here. Linnea Quigley's taking her clothes off again.
There's the scene in the film where she's showering is so funny to me because of the music. They kept up this spooky music going. It makes you think that there's like something bad is about to happen to her. Nope, no, she's just showering.
Right. And it's like, in the first glance, I was like, I was getting the mom confused. I was like, wait a minute, like, who's this other woman? I was like, wait, no, that's not Linnea Quigley. That's the mom. Like, hold on now. Like, why would you cast two actresses that look that similar? And I was like, are they supposed to be related? And she's like, no, my sister's home from college. Like, and I can't get her to answer the phone. And I was like, wait a minute, like, no, and then there was one part, and this kind of rung in my ears today, like, she calls the babysitter last minute and is like,
Yeah.
oh, I need you to babysit little Jimmy. And she's like, oh, I have plans. And she's like, well, I was relying on you. And it's like, well, why didn't you call me sooner?
Yeah, it's like it's really weird how she acts like Linnea Quigley's character is in the wrong there. Like, no, she's not in the wrong at all. You're the one in the wrong for waiting this late to ask someone to babysit your kid. And now the one thing I do think is a little strange. I didn't really love with Quigley's character was that one moment where she starts trying to flirt with the dad, and she says, "I like little boys." What?
Oh my.
That was
Right?
weird.
Like, it's like there was some weird, like, poorly scripted undertones. Again, like I said, why is the neighbor in the woods with the kid? And it's like it's not his dad. It's like, I thought it was like his uncle, was grandfather, but he's related to you and even has the same last name as you. It's like, no shit. Like, that's
Yeah.
kind of how relatives work. It's kind of how ancestors work. But it was like, I'm telling you the story. I've carved this jack-o'-lantern. Like, I feel like there was more to this scene that was just not explained, or again,
Yeah.
it was supposed to go somewhere else in the movie. But yeah, again, being stuck in production hell for 10 plus years, 8 plus years, whatever. Like, yeah, some of the pieces of this puzzle are definitely missing. But like you said, I think this is one that is worthy of a remake. But now,
Yeah.
like, having my Pumpkinheaded slasher, like, I kind of want to do it. Like,
Oh yeah. I
like
think that
I
this
wanted,
would be really
the
fun to get
roots are there.
a remake. Which it reminds me how last night, as I was literally as I was watching it, and I looked at Instagram, and I got a suggested post saying that Fred Olin Ray, I think is his name, and which was the writer of this film, he's working on a sequel to it now. And like that was just wild to me. But to be honest, I wouldn't mind watching a sequel to this. I think it could be a fun on to see what he's come up with after 30 years. But
Right? Maybe he's been working on it this whole time, and it's just been in production hell for the last 30 years.
which wait, he has a poster up for this sequel on his Instagram, and I mean it shows three actors that are going to be in this sequel. None of them are in the original film, but you would think if you're not bringing back the original film's actors, you would be particularly trying to get younger actors to be a part of it. No, these are very old actors that he has signed up for. One of them is like 95. I'm like, what?
Well,
Why is that who you're
they were
looking
probably
for?
cast 30 years back when he had the original idea, and he's just kept them on retainer this whole
Yeah, like
time.
he's trying to get made with Kickstarter right now.
Oh
Oh,
my.
okay. Oh, but that's gonna be that'll be interesting if that ever
I
comes
hope
out.
that like he comes back and he's like super buff, because like I've seen like there's a board game and they have like a Gourd Reaper character, and it's like the second one is like the Gourd Reaper 2. He's backed and
Yeah,
he's jacked O'Lantern.
nice.
Like he's just
Fun. Oh, yeah. One thing that I kept feeling as I was watching this film that was so weird to me was I felt like I recognized these actors, but the thing is, I went to go look at their IMDb's. I have not seen any other films they're in. One of them, this is the only film he's ever been in, and I was like, wait, what? I feel like I recognize you, but how is this the only film you've ever been in? The
But the real
particular
question is, how
it
did they
was
get Linnea Quigley on this thing? Like that's the real
like
question.
the actor that I felt like I recognized, but I was only in one film, and it being this film, was the actor playing the dad. He just felt familiar for some reason to me. But yeah, the acting though this is hilariously bad. And I think the worst acting is from the scene when the kid is being put into the grave, if he just goes, please stop. It's like there's no
Yes,
emotion in his
yes.
voice whatsoever. It's like it almost sounds like he sounds like someone who's trying to fake say it because they actually want to be buried alive.
Right.
Doesn't it kind of?
It was like Troll 2 levels of bad acting. Like, oh my God, he's burying me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like you said, it was like when Gene Wilder did in Willy Wonka, like it was at least convincingly like you knew he was being sarcastic. Wait, no, stop, don't.
Yeah,
But
that's
this was
exactly
just
what I was.
like
That exact kind of thing was what it felt like. Oh my god,
this was like really bad. Like, no, don't.
like
Oh God,
I,
don't bury me, Mister
but
Slasher Man.
like those things are kind of why I enjoyed because I was just constantly laughing at how bad it is. Is
Right.
and then
It's one of those that if you go into it knowing it's going to be a train wreck, like you might actually enjoy it. And like I looked at
oh
the
yeah,
reviews,
I
but with our Cinema Society Saturday, like, we've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and I infamously will shit on films. Um, like the Monkey, I was super excited for the Monkey, and like I watched that damn thing twice, and it's like it's so ridiculous and so unhinged, and it's like I went into this, I looked at the IMDb reviews where I like it's shit, it's going to be shit, I know it's shit, but I am still going to watch it.
I think I personally I had a lot of fun with the monkey. I'm someone who loves things being as unhinged and as can and goofy as possible. But yeah, I can understand people not loving it. One thing I thought was an interesting choice in this that I probably would not have gone with personally. They had to when they kill I don't know if he's actually dead, but when they kill him, and they use some kind of computer effect to make him disappear, and it looks so bad.
Oh, like the lightning in the kitchen with the posh neighbors. Like that lightning effect
Uh,
was like a Highlander
but like
bad.
when they stab him with the cross us at the end, and he just and there's just these moving computer effects around him, and then he disappears. It was just like, why did you choose that? Like, this was not made at a time when computer effects were good enough to for something like that. If I were them, what I would have done was would have been replace as the alive version of him with a prop version of him, and then just lit that on fire. I think that would have looked so much better.
Right. And it's interesting to see like what different studios are capable of with even varying budgets. Like you can give a bad studio a lot of money and you can give a good studio a little bit of money and get much different results.
Mm-hmm.
It's like budget isn't everything, but yeah, it's like some of these effects, like you said, are they was this filmed with the 85 special effects or the 95 special effects? Like
I feel like most of the film must be things that were filmed near 1995 because of like the kid being in there, since he wasn't alive when the 1985 in 1985. So I feel like most of the film was so then. It's just it's very interesting to look
they
at
spent
as this
all the
kind
budget
of.
on the jack-o'-lantern head and CGIing the kid into the scenes with the old man. That's where all the money went. That and Lienna Quigley. That's the whole
Oh
budget.
yeah. And that the actor who had passed away in 1989, he's not even the only actor who passed away before the film came out that's in this. There's another actor, or the actor who was the horror movie host thing on the TV. He passed away a year before this came out. Like, was this production cursed or something?
I like that needs to be on an episode of Cursed Films. But yeah, it's the neighbors and just God, like I said, we were talking about politics earlier today, you and I, and there was like even the politics of the political views of the posh couple next door, like that would not fly today.
Like,
Like that was
I
just
found how that super interesting. Seeing this conservative if couple and their and how they had this absolutely insane guy on TV. And like I find interesting about that is that you just expect conservative commentators today to be like that, but how I've always now I only started actually getting into politics in like the past like decade or so because I was a kid before that, but but how I always heard about the how politics before like 2010, and it kind of seemed like it wasn't the that side was not nearly as crazy, and like their commentators weren't nearly as crazy as that, and this kind of shows that they did have some of those crazy people even back during the 90s. We just didn't really hear about them as much because the internet wasn't around, so they weren't gaining popularity through that, I think.
Yeah, popularity or infamy, depending on which side of the coin you fall on. And it's like nothing, no news travels faster than bad news. And it's, yeah, like I say, people just, a lot of these politicians just need to shut up while they're not ahead. I normally don't vote because I don't have enough of an informed opinion of the candidates, but this last election has just really just divided the country like I've never seen before. And there are levels of crazy on both sides. I just kind of keep my head down and go about my business because
Mhm.
my state went whatever color, and it's like my individual vote wouldn't have mattered one way or the other, in my opinion. I've got a friend who lives in another state, and his state went the color opposite what he voted for. And I kind of jokingly told him, I was like, "Do you feel like you wasted your vote?" He goes, "I kind of do." I was like, "You can't please all of the people all of the time." But yeah, like you said, like this guy on the television was an absolute wackadoo, and it's like he was just going on, and it's like this is what's giving the entire political party a bad name, um, because they are, the extremist. But
Yeah, it's
um,
like that's just it. The fact that this came out in the '90s is what makes that so interesting to me. I wouldn't be surprised by saying something like that today. From there are a lot of crazy political commentators today, but but I always heard of politics as like, oh, things were very tame and before like 2010 or so. And this shows that it really wasn't. We just a lot of people didn't hear about it because we didn't have stuff like the internet that made us hear about these things, I think.
right, you didn't have your president on his, BlackBerry kicking messages out to, tweeting, and just, whatever random thought pops into the noggin, they're
Like,
just going to share it with the rest of the
so
world. But I mean, there was political mudslinging like back in
it
the day,
reminds
like
me. It reminds me of like I've talked to my mom about like a she always she brings up a lot of um she hasn't really recently, but she's brought up many times of she feels that there are a lot more children being taken from families these days by like child kidnappers or something. And I said, I think that that's kind of always sadly been a thing, but like you're hearing more about it now because you have the internet now.
right.
So you're in like
Well, none of that,
when
but
she was as a kid, there were I feel like they probably didn't hear about these things. It was like it was the '80s and '70s, and like I it's much easier for us to get this information
right.
to people, and that is actually a good thing. And like yes, it looks like there's more, but we're actually hearing about them, and that's a good thing.
Well, statistically speaking, too, it's like the population is larger, and
Yeah,
just what used to be 1 in 5 out of a pool of 50 is now 1 in 5 out of a pool of 500. Like, yes, there are indeed more, but there's more people. But if you want to, if you'll forgive me for poking at religion here for just a moment, if you follow the Bible as written, you're telling me that in the beginning there are four people on earth, and one of those people is a murderer. So you're telling me 1 in 4 persons is a murderer. And also, it's like you're telling me that the very human nature is to be jealous and to murder out of jealousy. Like, yeah, it's like it has always been sadly a thing. Like I said, if you follow to the letter the words written as written.
mhm.
But yeah, like you're saying also, yes, I also, and I love that you say that too, because that's what I tell people. I'm like, yeah, it's these things have always been happening. It's just it's always been kind of under the radar, or you only heard about it locally. Unfortunately, as these things did happen before, or technology has just caught up to such a point that um, you know things are happening on a much grander scale,
Mhm.
and machinery has
That's
caught up and thus made, things more available, and populations are much more condensed and populated now. It's not like your nearest neighbor is 5 acres away. It's like you've got neighbors, packed 4, 8, 12, 26 to a building,
mhm.
duplexes, small towns.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just that like earlier when I mentioned that to you in the chat, I was like I just want to make sure like you were okay with what we talked about because I'm like it's just so interesting to me seeing these sort of things back in the 90s because that is
Right.
that is not what I heard that or that politics was back then. And I wasn't alive in the 90s, so I don't so I wouldn't have actually had firsthand experience.
Right. My 90s I'm an 80s baby. My 90s were a lot of learning my shapes and colors and using the fat crayon. So like yeah, I was aware, but like yeah, again, being a child, like none of that
Yeah.
registered on my radar. But yeah, like I said, like mudslinging has always been a thing. But
Hmm.
like I think now it's more so like I don't get into sports either. I think people get way too serious about the sports team and they act like
Yeah.
they're the ones, on the field rather than in the stands. And it's like, it's good that you're passionate about things and it's wise to be educated, but like some people took some things a little too personal, that they shouldn't have, and other people are in fact standing up for what they believe to be right. Um, and far be it for me to say anyone is wrong, but there are some clear moral grounds that people really should reevaluate, and there are some opinions that should just be kept to yourself. Um,
Oh yeah. Like
but yeah, like you said, yeah, that definitely fit. Like now that you say that with I remember, like I said, that the neighbors and the television, I was like, yeah, yeah, wait a minute, no, there was something political undertones in this film, and it's like, yeah, like I said, the way he was talking about that was just kind of disgusting, honestly. Like,
oh yeah. And I just always find stuff like that interesting. And looking at things like that in the 90s, like I also like I really found it interesting when I went back and binged and The Simpsons and then I saw a lot of their early political humor, and it was really interesting. I mean, like they go after both sides, but it is very clear. You're even back when they started it are in the 80s, they definitely had more of a left slant to them. As
right,
they said, I remember there's one episode where they said the Democrats as like incompetent or something, but then the Republicans are just evil. Is what I'm
right, right,
pretty sure they said,
right,
and like I find that so interesting because I'm like I could absolutely see something like that being put into sign today, where people have very strong feelings about these things, but I feel like it was like the people probably found it wild back in the 90s hearing the Simpsons say that.
right. And that's the thing too. Like, I am fine with people having political opinions and poking fun or calling out the other side, but you also have to admit your own faults. If you can't make fun of yourself, you have no right to make fun of anyone else.
Yeah.
Not that you should be making fun of anyone realistically, but I mean, wrong is wrong, and
Oh yeah.
what do they say? Two wrongs don't make a right, but three lefts do. But yeah, that was kind of the thing is like, and I have people in my circle that blindly follow one side or the other, and it's like, look, like you're both horrible people. Like, let's just be honest. The system is flawed. But yeah, like I said, the way that guy was talking on the show, like the government doesn't give me any money. Why should I give them any of mine? And I was like, he's kind of sort of got a point there, but the way he's saying it is very harsh and sounds very, um,
like how he says that um he literally says liberals should just all die.
yeah, that's
And
too far.
like
That is a bridge too far.
and he's say I think he's like basically he basically also was saying like earlier in the like we shouldn't feel bad for homeless people and like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like Jesus dude. I
Like,
mean, we
where's
should,
your moral compass, my
and that
friend?
real Americans are not the people who are minorities. I'm like, oh my god, it really does feel like that party today.
Yeah, yeah. It's art imitates life, and life imitates art.
Oh, on a lighter note, I did enjoy all the boobies in the movie.
Right, right. Like, like I
it
remember I was watching
was
something,
hilarious, hilarious. Like the two scenes with them, they put so much focus on that.
and they were honestly kind of nice. They
Yes,
weren't, like
definitely.
sometimes you see some of these movies and like, wow, like, oh, like that's the best you had on hand. Like, I'm not gonna act like I'm winning Mr. Universe, but like, I wish I had four thumbs so I could give them to these four thumbs down. Like, milk's gone sour. But yeah, I was watching something the other day. I think it was on right after Jacko, and I was like, we are like 10 seconds into this movie, and there's already sweaty yams out. Like, I like sweaty yams as much as the next guy, but damn, this was just like gratuitous nudity for the sake of
I
nudity.
would say that the nudity of this was gratuitous, but I still enjoyed it.
Right. There was
Yeah.
one. What's the movie
The
with the three kids that are all born the same day under the full moon, and they're like evil? Happy birthday or happy death day, something to that effect. I'll find it. But I was watching an interview with the older sister from that movie, and she said that during the interview process, they had her like take a Polaroid of herself shirtless, and they took it, gave it to the director, and the director came back and was like, "Here's your picture back. Yep, you got the job." And she was like, they just wanted to make sure she didn't have weird tits. And I was like, "Oh, okay, like
That's an
interesting."
interesting way to cast someone. I hope that she was an adult at the time, at least.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was like weird
Uh,
because like the scene that it was in, like the sister was selling peakies for a quarter so that the boys could come over and like spyball on her, and it's like that was a little weird, although it was just a cameraman like sticking the lens through the peephole. The insinuation of it was weird, and I'm always like, I hope that the intimacy coordinator kept, and of course there was no intimacy
I
coordinator
wish.
back then,
Uh,
but I hope they would keep the kids separate from that.
I wish that every film had an intimacy coordinator on them because, like, I want these actors to feel comfortable if they're gonna be doing scenes like that.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But yeah, it's I mean, nothing sells horror movies like the three B's: blood, boobies, and bad language. Like, God love it, gotta have it. You can't get enough. That's true
There's
America
a
right there.
I was looking at trivia for this film on IMDb, and apparently, Femme Fatale magazine, they rated Lienna Quigley's shower scene as her most gratuitous nudity scene in a film, which I just find hilarious that that's actually a trivia thing on IMDb.
More interesting than that is considered the more gratuitous over Night of the Living Dead, where she's literally dancing butt ass naked esque in the graveyard. I can't remember what the fact of that was, like the leggings or whatever. There was something with the leggings, and they were concerned that they were too fleshy and that like it looked too much like full Monty frontal nudity. It was a whole thing, and it's like God bless whoever convinced her to do this.
I personally think that she just enjoys doing it. Uh,
I mean, again, like if you're
I'm
comfortable doing it,
I'm
if you got it,
very
flaunt it.
I am very curious about how Lienna Quigley is working on a Return of the Living Dead sequel called all the Trash's Revenge, and I'm wondering, and since it does say that she's going to be playing Trash again in this, is her I guess the zombie version of Trash. Are the even at her is she still at her age going to be actually doing it naked?
God, I hope so.
That'd be amazing if she does.
Well, that's weird because, like, I guess they would have to adjust the canon of it because they dropped a
Yeah,
nuke on that town. Like, there's nothing left.
yeah. Uh, it's very interesting to me what's going on with the Return of the Living Dead franchise. They had there was a whole lawsuit going on about who had the rights, and now after the lawsuit ended, there are two different in Return of the Living Dead sequels being made, and they are not related to each other, not being made by the same company at all. I'm so curious about the behind the scenes of all that.
I saw something today. I think it was George Romero's daughter or something.
Yeah,
Queen of the Dead.
yeah. Queens of the Dead. She's making it's coming out in next month. Which like I had not heard about that before, but I'm definitely interested. It's a horror comedy, and also it has Katie O'Brien in it, who's actually like a pretty big star. So I'm definitely very interested in that.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else about this film we should talk about? I think we pretty much talked about most everything. And I do like that the pumpkin creature in this is said to be from hell. Hell. And I kind of wonder like between between the earlier time I'm and the point the present day time of the film, like was he just hanging out in hell this whole time? Is
Right?
there just
Like,
a pumpkin guy I hanging around hell?
right, and that's the part. Maybe I was making a sandwich
I
or having a piss or something at the time, but like, did they ever explain why he had a pumpkin head?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, I was just making sure that it wasn't just me that missed it. Like, so well, I'm waiting for like one of the
Yeah.
viewers to come in and like leave a comment or
One
like
thing
send us an
though,
angry email, like, oh, actually, if you paid
you know,
attention.
talking about like him just spending him hanging out in hell reminds me of something that I've thought about a lot recently. I'm like, which is, I wish there were more movies that actually set themselves in hell. I think that could be such a fun landscape to actually explore a film in, and not just a character came from hell, but we see them on Earth.
Right, and it's like, what hell are you using? Are you using like the Christian hell? Are you using the Dante's Inferno hell? Is it more of a purgatorial hell? Like, I
Like,
would, yeah, I'm with
I
you.
would
I want to see more movies set in hell.
I want to see like a horror comedy film completely set in hell, so like the all of the architecture and like the sky, everything is all red and stuff like that throughout the whole film, and like just exploring like people's lives and lives there, like
Right?
I
Because
think that could be fun.
we've seen it in Constantine, we've seen it in Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure,
Yeah, and also in the Lucifer show, they showed how.
right? And then I can't remember what's the one where the dad from, oh, gosh, the dad from Beetlejuice is the devil, presumably, or works for the devil. He works in
I'm not
hell,
sure.
and he sells, I think it's remote control or God damn it, I can't think of it. The devil sells them a satellite dish and it sucks them into like a game show set in hell.
Okay, that sounds like a fun film. I've never seen it, but it sounds like a fun film. Uh, um, it sounds to me that it's the dad from Beetlejuice as that I'm pretty sure
It's the
that's
dad from
Jeffrey.
Beetlejuice and the
I'm
dad from American Pie.
it. Oh wait. Okay. But yeah, the dad from Beetlejuice, Jeffrey Jones, is not a good guy,
No.
and it annoys me that there are multiple films of his that I really like.
It's called Stay Tuned.
Okay,
Let me
like
double check here. Uh,
it's
yeah, husband and wife sucked into a hellish television set where they must survive the
oh,
gauntlet of twisted versions of shows we find themselves in. Oh, who's the other guy?
have you seen the babysitter films on Netflix?
Yes,
So
yes.
I want them to do a third one of those, but where they go into hell to try and stop the group of people from ever trying to come back out and kill Cole again. I think that it would be so much fun to see a Cole and B Samara Weaving's character or just going into hell, killing a bunch of demons, and like I feel like they could have like a have some like legendary comedic actor be the person who plays the devil in it. I think it would be so much fun.
I think you know what? Now I think about it, my probably my favorite depiction of hell in cinema and my favorite cinema devil is both Constantine. Just the barefoot white suit devil, like just it's so good. And like I said, just the hell being the reflection of the material realm. It was well done, but yeah, I really want to see like a hellscape movie. Like
Yeah,
Jason goes to hell, but you're going to stay here.
you know,
Like
if
we
you
want to see. Show us the hell.
if you want to see a though, would how would you feel about something that's set in hell but it's animated? Because there are two shows that I love that are both set in hell. One of them's called Has Been Hotel, and the other is called Hell of a Boss. They're both all the same universe. It's made by this indie creator on YouTube, and they got picked up by Amazon Prime.
I tried to watch Has Been Hotel, and I should probably skip the pilot episode on a rewatch and just get right into the
Uh,
actual show. But like I thought the pilot was a bit ridiculous.
it's definitely
I
they're
like
definitely very ridiculous.
I like musicals, but like that one just really was like, wow, this is loud and bright and like there's too
I
much going on for my brain.
would suggest trying both Has Been and Hell Boss, their actual shows and not just the pilot, because they definitely retain a lot of that, but I think they aren't they don't go as crazy immediately as with the pilots. It's it's they I think Vibsy, the person who made them, probably realized after the pilot that they can't just keep that energy constantly.
Right. Oh, I've got it. So here's my pitch. The movie set in hell, Bruce Campbell is the devil.
That's,
Bruce
that
Campbell
could
or
be
maybe
really
Jim
cool.
Carrey, but like I don't
Oh,
know that I could like really watch Jim Carrey be the devil, but like I think Bruce Campbell could pull off the devil pretty
which
good.
Jim Carrey actually apparently was planning on making a film where he became like a devil figure, but
Well, he's already played God.
got canceled. It was going to be
Uh,
a sequel to that film. It was going to be a
oh,
sequel to Bruce Almighty. It was going to be called Brucifer.
Oh my
And
god,
he
I'm here
and they
for it.
got it and it got scrapped out in favor of doing a Evan Almighty.
No, I would mind. I give me the Brucifer.
Oh yeah, like Bruce Campbell though could be like a really good one for on to play the devil
And
for
again,
a
you're still
baby
getting Brucifer.
for or a babysitter or three. I think he would fit the tone of those movies really well.
Yeah, especially now that he's older and just like the disdain that he has for these hell children, babies, hell
Uh,
teens. But yeah, I
I
want to I want to see the day to day goings on
yeah
of the hell.
yeah and like maybe like we could have somebody from the Earth going down to hell. They're the main character of the film, and so we get to experience and from their point of view how crazy this place is that could be so much
Right.
fun.
I've got it. We call it What the Heck. We have Elijah Wood be the only human in the show. Everyone else is Muppets. Muppet, what the heck?
Oh my
Muppets go to
god.
heck.
uh, I think I'll talk about for this episode. Thank you for coming on, man, and I really enjoyed it having you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. I love coming on podcasts. I love listening to
Yes,
podcasts. I love just
yes.
everything. Anything I can ever do to return the favor and support. Well,
Oh
like I said,
yeah,
yeah, we're getting you a pumpkin, so thank you for sharing your project with me, and I am more than happy to share my project with you.
absolutely. Absolutely, and like, thank you so much for being willing to include me into in the Pumpkin Patch Pals. I'm so excited to see what you do with me and how you actually have me interact with other characters in the canon, and it's gonna be very exciting. And everyone, please check out Crowley on TikTok, Splatterhouse Cinemas. There are a lot of fun videos there. And you'll see a there have been and I think a few times, at least once or twice, I said we got paired up on Cinema Society Saturday. So you might I hear him mentioning my name in some of those videos. I was Thank you everyone for listening. And if you like this game analysis, please give a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a 5-star rating on Spotify. Love your thoughts on the movie, so please let me know. And if you'd like to listen more from me, please subscribe. Many more game analysis from me coming, so keep on the lookout. This again is your host, Smash Trivia John, signing off.